Welcome back everyone into another interesting talk. So today we are going to talk about objects class. Okay, this class is basically introduced into the Java 1.7 version, and we are today going to talk about one method of this particular class. What is this method? This method name is a require non-null. Okay, let us just see that what is inside this method. Actually, this method is a static method, because as well as we know that this objects class, not an object is a super class of every Java class, but this is a objects class. It is a utility class provided by the Java people. This class is a static. This method, if you are talking about the require non-null method, it is a static method which is taking the object type of value. It is taking the generic parameter. It is a type parameter. You can pass any type of value inside this require non-null method. What is the purpose of this method and what is the behavior? Let us see one by one how it is behaving. If you pass your object, if that object is a null, then this method will throw a null pointer exception. If that object is not null, then it will return the same exactly the object that whatever you have passed. Okay, if we see the use case of this method, suppose that you have one object and not an object. Let's just think about that. If you have any variable, and if you call like objects dot require non-null, and if you pass that object type of variable, and if that object is null, it will immediately throw the null pointer exception, and if it is not null, it will just return the exact same object whatever you have passed. Now the Java developer can think about that. Okay, why we need this method? Because whenever you are having any object type of reference, and if it will be having a null kind of thing, if that variable is having a null kind of thing, and if it is calling the method on by if you call that method by using that reference object reference which is a null, it will immediately throw the null pointer exception. Why we need this kind of method to explicitly throw a null pointer exception whenever someone is some variable, whenever that variable is a null? The purpose is that the JDK people are also using this kind of approach in their methods. Just think about that. There is a two cases which I can see that this method can be a very useful. One is starting of the method. In the starting of the method, where you are taking the method parameter, the first line you can check that objects dot require non-null and that parameter objects type of parameter. If that parameter is null, it will just throw the null pointer exception, and it will be promote to the abnormal termination of your application or program. Okay, so what is the advantage of this? The advantage is that whenever anything is going to null, taking a null, rather than finding that null issue at a late point of time, you can find that null issue at an earlier point of time. Whenever that variable is creating, whenever the value is coming to that variable, rather than that variable value from your method, it will be passed to another lower level method. That method will pass to another method, and that method will call a method on that variable. It will be a long stack trace, and if there is any issue or kind of things, it will be a very tedious to identify this process. So the purpose behind this method, to creating this method or introducing this method, that as much as early possible you can identify your nulls. If there is a null, then you can throw that exception, any kind of it will be through the null pointer exception as much as early possible. It will help you to identify the bugs ASAP. Okay, what is the second case? Second case, I can see that it is a very useful in your constructor. Whatever, suppose you have a class and there is a constructor where you are constructing your objects variables. So in the constructor, whenever you are getting the parameter, the constructor parameter, you can use that check in order to check that variables like objects dot require null. Like suppose that you have a title in the constructor, so you can do like that, this dot title is equal to objects dot require non-null in title. So if that title is null, it will throw the null pointer exception. If it is not null, it will return the same title value. Okay, this is actually the purpose as a architectural point of view, as a developer point of view, that I am putting this, because I want to just find out the issues as much as possible early, rather than while constructing the objects. We are identifying the issue rather than it will process somewhere into the future. Okay, that's why we are using these objects dot require non-null kind of methods in the starting of the methods and in the in constructor while you are constructing your objects. Okay, I think these two cases are very very important for us. So you can think about to put these methods in these two places. And yeah, that's it for today. I just wanted to deliver these two things with you about this objects class require non-null method, which is taking only one parameter. As of now, we'll talk the new overloaded versions of this method in the future video as well. Currently, we are talking about the objects dot require non-null method, which is taking the only the type parameter value. Okay, yeah, thank you for watching this video. We will see you in the another interesting like talk in future. Okay, thank you so much.